Welcome friends. Let us have a discussion over the oxides of the 6th group elements, that is oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and the polonium. Whereas polonium is radioactive, we never involve polonium and the polonium oxides as a active part of our discussion. So the general chemical combination is 6th group elements with the oxygen. So therefore we can write it as M suffix of A followed by O suffix of B. Whereas this M stands for 6th group element, that can be oxygen and can be sulfur, selenium, tellurium and the polonium. Whereas the list of the oxides that are formed with respect to the 6th group elements, if I write in the form of a table, the table appears to be like this. See, with oxygen also oxides are formed. Ozone is considered as an oxide of oxygen. Similarly, this oxygen also combines with the other elements. We will discuss that one as a special part. And related to the remaining all other elements, sulfur can form monoxide, sulfur can form dioxide, sulfur can form trioxide. Similarly, selenium, only the selenium which does not form any kind of monoxide, it can form dioxide, trioxides, and tellurium forms monoxide, dioxide as well as the trioxide. The other oxides related to the sulfur are disulfur oxide, disulfur trioxide, disulfur heptoxide, hexasulfur monoxide, octasulfur monoxide. These are all are other sulfur related oxides formed. Then out of this table consisting of many varieties of oxides, in detail we will discuss related to the other oxides and its corresponding nature, ozone as a separate case, and important oxides of the 6th group elements. Now, as a brief discussion of general introduction related to the oxides, regarding monoxides, we can come for the conclusion that all can form monoxides except selenium. Selenium, you are not finding any kind of monoxide. So therefore, except selenium, all can form monoxide. Here what we are writing is except selenium monoxide is not present, remaining all monoxides are present. Hence what we can claim is except selenium, all elements can form the monoxides. Now let us go for the dioxides. Regarding dioxides, we can come for the conclusion. We are having important dioxides like sulfur dioxide, selenium dioxide as well as the tellurium dioxide. Out of these dioxides, sulfur dioxide is a gas, selenium dioxide is volatile solid, whereas tellurium dioxide is a solid. See, look at the physical phase. Sulfur dioxide is a gas, selenium dioxide is volatile solid, whereas tellurium dioxide is a solid. That is the physical state, disordered physical state to ordered physical state, converting from gaseous physical state to solid in physical state. Moreover, in this particular dioxide situation, the 6th group element is present in intermediate oxidation state, that is +2. There are higher oxidation numbers and there are lower oxidation numbers. Due to this reason, this particular +2 oxidation state containing oxides are acting as both oxidizing as well as reducing agents. Here, due to having of intermediate oxidation state, it can increase the oxidation number, and at the same time it can also decrease the oxidation number. Due to these reasons, sulfur dioxide like substances are acting as both oxidizing agents as well as reducing agents. The next point is one important conclusion related to the different varieties of the oxides present in this are sulfur oxides are very important. That is, already we are discussing about the ozone, eligible for the discussion. And another important oxides are, one is sulfur dioxide, other one is sulfur trioxide, and next one is selenium dioxide, which is used as good oxidizing agent in the organic chemistry for the conversion of allylic OH groups to the corresponding keto functional groups. So therefore, here the corresponding important oxides of the 6th group elements are ozone followed by sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide followed by selenium dioxide. And the next one is comparison between the di as well as the trioxides. Yes, where they will make the differ and in which way they will be vary from one another, let us have a discussion. Let us go for sulfur dioxide as well as the sulfur trioxide. If I look at the oxidation numbers, this is present in +2 oxidation state and the second one is present in +6 oxidation state. One is +4 oxidation state, second one is +6 in oxidation state. The higher the oxidation state, and moreover these are non-metals, oxygen, sulfur are non-metals, whereas selenium, tellurium are metalloids and remaining polonium is acting as a metal. So therefore, as being non-metal, these are non-metal oxides. Non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. This acidic nature is symbol for covalent character. This covalent character is higher for the higher oxidation state compared to the lower oxidation state. So therefore here this particular higher oxides, that is sulfur dioxide on comparison with sulfur trioxide is having high covalent character. And the acidic character is higher for the higher oxidation state of oxide compared to the lower oxidation state of oxide. And next one is acidic character. What will happen to the acidic character? From left to right we made the discussion. From top to bottom, what will happen? In this case, what will happen? In this case, what will happen? Let us have a discussion. Let us go for sulfur dioxide and all dioxides. Sulfur dioxide on reaction with water, it is converted to sulfurous acid. Similarly, selenium dioxide on reaction with water, it is forming selenium cellulose acid. Similarly, tellurium dioxide is having both acidic as well as the basic characters, because top to bottom that acidic nature decreases. So therefore, this tellurium dioxide on reaction with base sodium hydroxide, sodium tellurate is formed. Similarly, on reaction with HNO3, it is forming adduct. Implies what? It is having both acidic and basic, that is amphoteric nature. So therefore, from top to bottom, what we can say, acidic nature decreases. In case of dioxides, sulfur dioxide and the selenium dioxide are acting as acidic in character, whereas tellurium dioxide is acting as amphoteric in nature. Let us go for the same trend. What will happen in case of the trioxides? Sulfur trioxide on reaction with water, that is converted to sulfuric acid. Similarly, selenium trioxide is also converted to, that is selenic acid, and the tellurium trioxide on reaction with water, it combines with 6 molecules of water, and as a result it is converted to telluric acid. This is acid, but this is amphoteric. Implies from top to bottom acidic nature decreases, whereas from left to right acidic character increases, covalent character increases. These are the general features related to the oxides. Now in detail we will go for the ozone. In detail we will go for the oxides of the different elements of the periodic table. Then for the sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide and the others involved in the oxide content of the 6th A group elements. So here once again, sulfur dioxide plus water, selenium dioxide plus water, tellurium dioxide plus sodium hydroxide and the HNO3. Similarly, sulfur trioxide plus water, selenium trioxide plus water and the tellurium trioxide plus water. From top to bottom of the corresponding any of the dioxide or the trioxide or the monoxide, here another two important properties are left for the discussion. Those are eligible for the discussion. One is stability and second one is solubility. Stability of the corresponding oxides from top to bottom decreases, and moreover whatever the solubility is there, that solubility is also goes on decreasing. Oxides, the binary combination of any element with the oxygen are said to be the oxides. Even ozone is considered as the oxide of the oxygen. Whereas there are, if you look at the oxides, oxygen is more electronegative and oxygen is reactive. and oxygen chemically combines with almost all the elements present in the periodic table. So therefore these broad varieties of oxides are can't be discussed under a small portion. Elaborate discussion is needed. So therefore the chemical combination of element with the oxygen, which are known as oxides, oxides are broadly divided into categories. Those oxides which follows stoichiometric relations, those oxides which follows strictly the valency rules, such kind of oxides are known as normal oxides. Classification on behalf of following of stoichiometric relations, if they follows one way, if they doesn't follows in another way, thus classification is made. Whichever stoichiometric relations are following oxides are there, those oxides are known as normal oxides. Similarly, whichever oxides are there which are not following the stoichiometric relations and valency rules, these are known as non-stoichiometric oxides. Whereas these oxides are normal oxides, these oxides are non-stoichiometric oxides. Whereas non-stoichiometric oxides may consisting of excess amount of oxygen than the expected. Such kind of oxides are said to be the superoxides. Whereas the reverse situation, if they are consisting less amount of oxygen than the expected level of normal oxides, then such kind of oxides are said to be the suboxides. Whereas there is a special case. In that case, what happens is it appears to be non-stoichiometric, but it is stoichiometric, but it is not the pure. It is combination of more than one oxides of the element. Such kind of oxides are said to be the mixed oxides, because element can contain many varieties of oxidation states. So therefore, in particular of its every particular definite oxidation state, it combines with oxygen and forms the oxide. Some are lower oxides, some are higher oxides. A combination of both different oxidation states combination can be present. In that way, whichever oxides are formed, those oxides are appears to be non-stoichiometric, but they are stoichiometric in nature, but that is a mixture. Hence, such kind of oxides are said to be the mixed oxides. And once again, whatever the normal oxides are there, these are also divided into classes like oxides which are readily combines with bases are said to be acidic oxides. Oxides just readily combines with the acids are said to be basic oxides. Oxides which are readily combines with both base as well as acid are known as amphoteric oxides. And oxides neither combines with the acids nor combine with the base are known as neutral oxides. Thus, a classification, a broad classification is made in such a way following stoichiometric relations. Normal, not following are said to be what? Abnormal, otherwise non-stoichiometric. Appears to be not following, but following are said to be mixed. Whereas that particular non-stoichiometric are on behalf of oxygen content are divided as superoxides followed by what? Suboxides. And those normal oxides which reacts with the exclusively with bases are acidic, exclusively with acids are bases, exclusively with both are said to be amphoteric, whereas neither with acid nor with base are said to be what? Neutral oxides. Examples for each particular category. Here examples of acidic oxides. These are readily combined with the bases, hence these are said to be the acidic oxides. This is boron dioxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen pentoxide, P4O6, P4O10, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, chlorine, dichlorine oxide, chlorine heptoxide, Mn2O7, chromium trioxide. These are all are readily combined with the bases. For suppose if I take here P4O10 is there, that one reacts with sodium hydroxide, sodium phosphate formation takes place. Exclusively, these are non-metal oxides which are readily just combines with the bases, not combines with the acids are said to be the acidic oxides. Similarly, these are examples for the basic oxides. Basic oxides are sodium oxide, potassium oxide, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide, titanium oxide, chromium oxide, Fe2O3. Similarly, copper oxide, this readily combines with the acid. Suppose calcium oxide is there, this on reaction with the acid like HCl, it leads to the formation of calcium chloride. Such kind of all which readily combines with the acids are said to be the basic oxides. Now there is a special and important case required, that is amphoteric oxide, that readily combines with the acids as well as the bases. Suppose beryllium oxide, aluminum oxide, this is second group, this is third group. Similarly here germanium oxide, tin oxide, lead oxide, antimony oxide, tellurium oxide, chromium trioxide, vanadium pentoxide, zinc oxide, these are all are examples for the amphoteric oxides, both combines with the acids as well as the bases. Suppose if I go for beryllium oxide, beryllium combines with HCl and forms beryllium chloride. Beryllium combines with sodium hydroxide and forms the sodium berylate. We will discuss this one exclusively as a separate part of the video. The next one is neutral. Neither they readily combines with the acid nor with the base are said to be the neutral. Carbon monoxide, similarly nitric oxide, nitrous oxide followed by water, these are neutral oxides. And next one is non-stoichiometric excess oxygen containing oxides. Those are superoxides, potassium superoxide, cesium superoxide are examples. And less oxygen containing suboxides are, this is carbon suboxide C3O2 and S2O. Quantity of the oxygen is less compared to the average or the minimum oxidation number of the element, hence these are said to be the suboxides. And the next case, that is appears to be stoichiometric but are non-stoichiometric, those are mixed oxides Fe3O4, which is appearing as Fe3O4 is combination of Fe2O3 followed by FeO. This is ferrous oxide followed by ferric oxides combination. Similarly, Pb3O4 is combination of, that is PbO2 followed by 2 times of PbO, but it is known as what, Pb3O4, which is a mixed oxide. Thus, these are all are examples for normal oxides. Similarly, abnormal non-stoichiometric oxides followed by mixed oxides, and in that normal acidic oxides, basic oxides, neutral oxides followed by what, amphoteric oxides. Yes, examples for each particular case of the simple oxides and to its corresponding subdivision, that is acidic oxides, basic oxides, neutral oxides as well as amphoteric oxides. Acidic oxide is that one which readily combines with the base. I am taking an example, that is sodium, that is nitrogen pentoxide N2O5. This is non-metal. Non-metal oxides are generally acidic oxides. These are reaction with base like sodium hydroxide, sodium nitrate formation occurs. This is the salt. Followed by what? Water molecule formation occurs. Thus here it readily combines with the base, hence it is acidic oxide. And basic oxide which readily combines with the acid, acid is HCl. One of the basic oxide here I took as sodium oxide. Sodium oxide and reaction with HCl, sodium chloride formation takes place, hence it is basic oxide. Similarly, neutral oxide is that one which readily combines with the acid as well as the base. So therefore here I am taking a neutral oxide, that is Al2O3, that on combination with HCl, that is leads to the formation of AlCl3. On reaction with sodium hydroxide, sodium meta-aluminate also formed. Reacting with acid, reacting with base. Reacting with acid is known as basic. Reaction with base is known as acidic. Both acids and basic characters are present, hence it is said to be amphoteric in nature. So neutral in nature. Whereas amphoteric, sorry, here the mistake, here this is neutral and this particular case is amphoteric. Amphoteric is that one which readily combines with acids as well as the base. Neutral is that one which neither combines with the acid nor combines with the base, that is said to be neutral in nature. Carbon monoxide is an example. Here it is neutral, neither combines with acid nor combines with the sodium hydroxide. And there is another one important points for the discussion. In general, what we can say is the metal oxides are basic in nature. Yes, metal oxides are, most of the metal oxides are basic in nature, but some of the metal oxides are acting as amphoteric in nature. Suppose let us go for aluminium. Aluminium is a metal, but one of the oxide of aluminium is Al2O3. This ON2O3 readily combines with HCl and readily combines with sodium hydroxide. Thus, it is having both acidic as well as the basic properties, hence it is amphoteric in nature. There are some exceptions. Similarly, non-metal oxides are generally said to be what? Acidic in nature. Non-metal is symbol for acidic nature. Non-metal oxides are generally said to be what? Acidic. Most of the non-metal oxides are acidic oxides. But some of the non-metal oxides are neutral in nature. Suppose let us go for carbon monoxide. Otherwise, let us go for nitric oxide. Otherwise, let us go for N2O. These are non-metal oxides, but the behavior of these are neutral. Neither it combines with the acids nor it combines with the bases. So what we can conclude is most of the metal oxides are basic in nature, but some of the metal oxides are having amphoteric nature. Most of the non-metal oxides are acidic in nature, but some of the non-metal oxides are neutral in nature. And we should be very careful about the amphoteric oxides and the corresponding oxidation number. Here also one conclusion we can claim. Suppose an element is there, element with less number of oxygens, element combination with more number of oxygens. Suppose X is greater than Y, element with the less quantity of oxygen, element with the more quantity of the oxygen. So therefore, the more quantity of the oxygen is having most of the acidic character. So therefore, elements with the higher quantity of the oxygen is expected to have higher covalent character, that is symbol for what? Once again, acidic character, that is non-metallic character, that is nothing but what? Acidic character. Sulfur dioxide. The important oxides of the sulfurs are sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, and another important oxide of the 6th group element is selenium dioxide. These are eligible for the discussion. Sulfur dioxide, the formula is SO2. We are discussing about the sulfur dioxide. Preparations: sulfur and combination with limited amount of oxygen, sulfur dioxide formation occurs. Similarly, zinc sulfide and reaction with oxygen leads to the formation of oxidation of zinc to zinc oxide, that is normal only, and sulfur oxidation to sulfur dioxide. Similarly, iron pyrites on oxidation with oxygen leads to ferric oxide followed by what? Sulfur dioxide. In all these reactions, let us see, here sulfur is maintaining -2 as the state, whereas sulfur is maintaining +4 as the state. Oxygen 0 is maintained to oxygen -2, hence these are all are what? Redox reactions. These reactions are redox reactions. Sulfur followed by oxygen, zinc sulfide followed by oxygen, ferrous sulfide followed by oxygen leads to the corresponding sulfur dioxide. It is having higher dipole moment because it is angular structure, and different electronegativities containing atoms are connected with one another. As a result, it is maintaining higher intermolecular forces of attraction. It is easily liquefiable. As it liquefies once, it is used as a solvent, and that is used as a solvent for solvent of non-water, hence it is said to be the non-aqueous solvent. And this sulfur dioxide is anhydride of sulfurous acid. Sulfur dioxide plus water is converted to sulfurous acid with the same oxidation number, +4. What is the state of this one? +4 is the oxidation state. The same +4 is maintained for the sulfur here, hence it is anhydride of sulfurous acid. It is acting as good reducing agent because it is present with the +4 as the oxidation state, and the higher possible oxidation, another stable oxidation state is present. Due to having of another stable oxidation state, it want to increase the oxidation number. In that particular process, it reduces the others, hence it is acting as good oxidizing agent. Whereas that is possible either in presence of acidic medium or in the neutral medium. Suppose ferric salts are there, in presence of acidic medium of corresponding anion, these are converted to ferrous ions. Similarly, dichromate is converted to chromic salts, green colored chromic salts. Permanganate is converted to manganese salts. Manganese stands for +2, permanganate stands for +7, dichromate stands for +6, chromic stands for +3, ferric stands for +3, and ferrous stands for what? +2. These are the changes. higher to lower, higher to lower, higher to lower. It is reducing, so it is helpful in reduction of that one, hence it is said to be good reducing agent. Suppose Fe3 plus is there, that on reaction with sulfur dioxide it is converted to Fe2 plus followed by sulfur undergoes oxidation from plus 4 to plus 6, that is sulfuric acid formation occurs. Similarly, potassium dichromate on reaction with sulfur dioxide with the corresponding acid, that is sulfuric acid, leads to the formation of potassium sulfate followed by chromium sulfate. Similarly, potassium permanganate plus sulfur dioxide plus water, it leads to the formation of potassium sulfate followed by manganese sulfate, MnSO4 followed by sulfuric acid formation. In these all reactions, sulfur dioxide is acting as reducing agent. The other properties of the sulfur dioxide, it is also acting as bleaching agent. The basic reason for the bleaching property of the sulfur dioxide is sulfur dioxide readily takes the moisture's water. As a result, it is converted to sulfuric acid followed by liberating two nascent hydrogens. This nascent hydrogen is having ability to bleach the vegetable colors. Next, it also readily reacts with the sodium hydroxide because it is acidic in nature. It leads to the formation of sodium sulfite. Whereas, if excess amount of sulfur dioxide is there, this sodium sulfate once again recombines and that leads to the formation of sodium bisulfite. Whereas, addition reactions, it also participates in addition reactions. On reaction with chlorine, it leads to the formation of sulfuryl chloride, that is sulfur double bond followed by Cl and Cl. This is said to be sulfuryl chloride, which is used as one of the good chlorinating agent. It is the only one of the dioxide of the 6th group elements which is present in the gaseous state, whereas remaining except the sulfur dioxide, selenium dioxide, tellurium dioxide are present in the solid physical state. Let us go for the structure of the sulfur dioxide. Yes, structure of sulfur dioxide. Sulfur is having outermost electronic configuration 3s2 3p4, whereas 3d orbital is empty. Whereas oxygen is having ns2 np4, that is 2s2 2p4, 2d 0. Actually 2d is not present. Whereas here sulfur readily combines with the two oxygens. As we know, oxygen is having ability to form two bonds. One is sigma bond, other one is pi bond. Pi bond is not taken into account. It has to form what? Sigma bonds. How many sigma bonds it has to form? Total 2 oxygens are there. Hence we are expecting 2 sigma bonds followed by pi bond combinations. Hence to form sigma and pi bonds, here one of the electron present in the 3p4's pair is promoted towards the d orbital. Now 2 electrons are present in the s orbital. 3 electrons are present in the p orbital, 1 electron is promoted towards the d orbital. In this particular situation, here s orbital and the 2 p orbitals undergoes hybridization, thus it leads to the sp2 hybridization and a set of 3 orbitals are generated. In that, how many electrons are there? Total 4 electrons are there. So therefore, 4 electrons implies 1 is occupied by lone pair of electrons and remaining 2 are ready for the chemical combination. So therefore, each one readily combines with the oxygen to form the sigma bond. Whereas oxygen is also having 2p4. What is the meaning of this one here? P orbital is consisting one lone pair followed by 2 unpaired orbitals. One is involved in chemical combination with oxygen and the sulfur's chemical combination to form the sigma bond. Another one is empty. This orbital is p orbital. So therefore, this p orbital, which is unhybridized in case of oxygen, combines with the orbital of the p of the sulfur and it forms the p pi and d pi bond. This is p pi and this is p pi. Whereas other one, this is d pi orbital and this is p pi orbital. Thus it leads to the formation of another sigma bond. Thus the central atom sulfur is having sp2 hybridization. N value we can also calculate, that is 6 plus 0 by 2, that will becomes equal to 3 implies sp2 is the hybridization, whereas number of sigma connectivities are 2. hence it is Ab2E1 type, and it is having angular shape. And it is having a shape of what? Angular shape. Thus the structure, hybridization, shape, and the number of p-pi bonds and number of d-pi bonds present in the sulfur dioxide are like this. Here the bond angle of the sulfur dioxide is 119.5 degrees, whereas bond length is, because it is sigma and the pi bonds combination, double bond is present, and the bond length is found to be 143 picometers. The next important oxide of the sulfur is sulfur trioxide, having formula SO3, whereas sulfur trioxide is prepared from sulfur and oxygen combinations, whereas sulfur dioxide followed by oxygen also leads to sulfur trioxide formation. In this, the catalyst used is either platinum or the vanadium pentoxide is used. Sulfur trioxide is known as anhydride of sulfuric acid because on reaction with water it forms sulfuric acid. But practically it is not possible. We can't dissolve the sulfur trioxide in water. In order to form the sulfuric acid, it has to be dissolved in sulfuric acid itself. So therefore sulfuric acid plus sulfur trioxide combination gives fuming sulfuric acid, which is known as oleum and also known as pyrosulfuric acid, and the formula is given by H2S2O7. Acidity related to the dioxides on comparison, which is already discussed in the last part, that is sulfur trioxide is more acidic than the sulfur dioxide, and sulfur trioxide is used as a better oxidizing agent compared to the others, so it is strong oxidizing agent. Let us go for the structure of the sulfur trioxide. Sulfur trioxide structure. Sulfur has to combine with the 3 oxygens. Every oxygen will form 1 sigma and the 1 pi bond. So therefore total sigma bonds and total pi bonds are expected are 3 plus 3, total 6. Out of 6, valid are 3. It has to form 3 sigma bonds and the 3 pi bonds. Every bond is formed by unpaired electrons. So therefore after making 6 unpaired electrons possible by first excitation as well as second excitation, here 1 s orbital and the 2 p orbitals combines, that is it undergoes sp2 hybridization. After undergoing sp2 hybridization, it is having 3 unpaired electrons. One is present in p orbital and other 2 are present in d orbitals. Whereas oxygen is having such kind of situation, this is eligible for sigma bond, this is eligible for the pi bond. So therefore this oxygens p pi orbital and the p pi orbital. Whereas here one of the sulfur oxygen bond is p pi bond, and here it is d pi bond, and another is d pi bond formation takes place. Thus hybridization of sulfur is sp2, and it is Ab3 type, 3 sigma bonds it is forming, and it is regular in geometry. As being regularity in geometry, it is sp2 hybridization as well as planar in structure, and here it is having 1 p pi bond and 2 are p pi d pi bonds are present. Thus sulfur trioxide formation takes place. Thus sulfur trioxide molecule can be assumed as a resonance hydride of S double bond O followed by coordinate covalent bonded with oxygen and the oxygen. These are 3 structures. The hybridized structure is combination of these of 3. We can assume it in the form of sigma and the pi bonds, that is 3 sigma bonds followed by 3 pi bonds combination. Theta is equal to 120 degrees and the bond length is found to be what? 143 picometers. Now in solid state, at room temperature, sulfur trioxide is present in solid state. So the solid state related here structures are there for the sulfur trioxide. One of the structure is said to be the alpha form, another is said to be the beta, and the next one is said to be the gamma form. Gamma form is cyclic trimer, whereas alpha and beta are the linear polymers. In that linear polymers, alpha is stable because it is having cross links, whereas beta form is not having any kind of cross links. It is a linear one end to other end simple linear structure. Hence the stability of the alpha form is higher compared to the beta form because it is having cross links. Let us go for the open chain structure of the sulfur trioxide followed by the cyclic trimeric structure of the sulfur trioxide. The linear as well as the cyclic trimer structures of the sulfur trioxide. In linear structure, sulfur trioxide is repeated many number of times. Sulfur is connected with the two double bonded oxygens followed by connectivities with the other portions by linking in between them with an oxygen. That particular part is repeated for n number of times, thus it generates a linear structure. Whereas here are there if any cross links are present just like this, then it will becomes equal to what? Beta form of the sulfur, and this is said to be what? Alpha form of the sulfur. And gamma form is that one, 3 sulfur trioxide molecules are connected with the 6 atoms in ring in such a way that alternative sulfur and oxygens are there. This is cyclic trimer, that is known as gamma form of the sulfur trioxide. All these forms are possible if it is present in solid state. Selenium dioxide, this is used as oxidizing agent in organic chemistry. For allylic oxidation, allylic hydrogens are converted to corresponding hydroxy compounds. For that purpose, we are using this agent, and this oxidizing agent is said to be selenium dioxide. Similar to that of sulfur dioxide, selenium dioxide is having similarity in its structure with respect to sulfur dioxide. Whereas in gaseous state, similar to that of sulfur dioxide, it is present in discrete molecule, whereas in solid state, where sulfur dioxide doesn't maintain solid state, it is having infinite structures, infinite polymeric structure, that is sulfur dioxide, selenium dioxide is connected to the other seleniums with respect to the oxygens, thus infinite number of seleniums are connected from one end to other end, that is infinite polymer is present. Whereas another one important oxides of the 68 group of selenium is selenium trioxide. Formula is SiO3. In vapor state it is present as a discrete molecule, whereas in solid state it is a tetramer, that is cyclic tetramer. How many number of seleniums are there here? 4 seleniums are there, that it is cyclic tetramer is present, whereas sulfur trioxide is cyclic trimer. 3 sulfur trioxide molecules are connected within the 6-membered ring, whereas here cyclic tetramer, 4 seleniums are connected within the 8-membered ring is said to be cyclic tetramer. This is selenium trioxide and this is selenium dioxide.